Folks, we've come full circle. As we approach the end of 2024, let's dive back into the saga of the case of the missing princess and all the shenanigans that unfolded this year with the British royals. One thing's for certain, they certainly provided much of the year's entertainment. It all starts on December 25th with Kate's Christmas Day walkabout. She's seen here with William and the kids and other members of the family. Now, there are many people, including in this audience, that maintain that this was actually the last time the real Kate was seen alive. Now, I don't believe that, and I actually do think the person we are seeing is, in fact, Kate. Just a very different Kate, because she seems to have gone through some shit. December 28, details about the couple's engagements are reported, including a planned trip to Rome. There was no indication that Kate was experiencing any health issues, and according to the press, she was talking about all her plans for her early years project. Later that same day, this convoy was seen heading to a hospital in Marylebone. Now, although many do suspect that Kate may have been the person being transported to the hospital, there is no definitive proof of this, and not everyone is convinced that this was Kate. I know some of you have stated that Kate was nowhere near the area of the convoy, and that it may have been part of some elaborate ruse to distract from something else. January 9, Kate's 42nd birthday came and went with a whisper, which in the past included reports of a tea party. But this time there was almost like a forced downplaying, almost like they were trying very hard for the public not to take notice. There was barely a mention in the press, and to commemorate her birthday, Camilla released an old photo of Kate from Charles's coronation the previous year. And hey, nothing says everything's fine like recycling last year's picture on your birthday. January 11, William begins to make a number of solo appearances, which the press and public start to take notice, with one publication going as far as to refer to him as a solo dad. And I have to say that this was when I finally started noticing the murmurs on social media. Kate, by now, hadn't been seen for over 2 weeks. January 17, a lot happens on this day. Kensington Palace announces to everyone's surprise that Kate underwent abdominal surgery and that she had been admitted to a London clinic on the previous day. Now, here's where it starts to get interesting. The first reports state that it was a sudden abdominal surgery, and maybe a day or so later, that turns into planned abdominal surgery. And if you try to do a Google search today for the original headline about the surgery being sudden, you can't find anything at all. It's all been wiped clean from the internet. However, since I was following the story from early on, I still happen to have these old headlines in my archive. Anyway, what's particularly of interest is that none of her family, or anyone else for that matter, including her children, come to visit her during this time. The report further states that the surgery was successful and that she was expected to be in the hospital for anywhere around 10 to 14 days. It is also at this time that we begin to hear reports that she'll likely not be seen again until Easter. January 18, William makes his only visit to Kate while she is in hospital. January 26, Charles is admitted to the same London clinic as Kate for a procedure which we would later learn to be an enlarged prostate. Camilla, during this time, makes frequent visits to see Charles at the London clinic. January 29, It is announced that Kate has been discharged from the London clinic, with Kensington Palace releasing this statement, although no one actually sees her, despite camera crew and reporters being posted at every entrance and exit.
Cameras are literally covering every single entrance and exit.
In fact, users on social media start to take notice that she was never actually seen entering the hospital at all. Her assistant, Natasha Archer, is seen here looking very worried, almost with a kind of "I have a secret that should never get out" look on her face. And the vehicle supposedly transporting Kate is pictured here with a floral arrangement that looks like it was stolen from off a Tim Burton set or something. But no Kate. And this is where I think the public really starts to take notice that something just doesn't sit right. At the same time, Charles is also discharged from the clinic, but unlike Kate, he is very clearly seen exiting the hospital hand in hand with Camilla, waving to the public. Also around this time, this report ran adjacent to her surgery announcement, stating that Kate's condition is non-cancer related, which piques everyone's curiosity because nobody was asking whether her condition was cancer related, so it just seemed kind of a random statement to make. And I wonder if during this time they were still trying to figure out a story to tell the public, and maybe they weren't quite sure what the final story was going to be, much like the sudden planned surgery narrative. January 30, the day after Kate's discharge, several journalists are seen inexplicably wearing black, and flags are flown half-mast at Westminster, leading to wild speculations. Rumors intensify. February 2nd, Spanish journalist Concha Calleja makes a shocking claim that Kate was placed into an induced coma. The palace later denies this. February 5th, Buckingham Palace announces that Charles has been diagnosed with an unspecified form of cancer, many suspecting that it is related to his earlier treatment for an enlarged prostate. February 7, a little over a week after Kate's alleged discharge from the London clinic, William appears at an investiture ceremony looking a mess. Many netizens suspect that he is inebriated. He is seen at one point swaying back and forth with a very worried look on his face. At one point, he drops an award intended for its recipient. February 14, Pippa, Kate's sister, is seen frolicking on a beach in what appears to be staged photos. Her unbothered demeanor suggests that Kate could possibly be alive and well after all. February 18, William attends the BAFTAs alone, where he makes a passing mention of Kate. Kate still hasn't been seen, and more people are starting to notice. Reports from the palace about Kate are limited to she is doing well or she is recovering. The press reports that she's moving from one place to another, and they begin writing ridiculous puff pieces, such as this one about William propping up pillows for her, which nobody believes. In fact, most of the speculation surrounding her disappearance centers on William. Past reports about his mistreatment of Kate, as well as his volatile temper, begin to resurface, leading to rumors about the unthinkable. At this time, Harry also flies in to see his father, but is reportedly blocked by William. February 24, William issues a statement on the Gaza situation using his solo monogram, leading people to ask, well, why the departure of joint statements under the joint monogram, sparking rumors about a possible separation. February 25th, shock announcement. Thomas Kingston, husband of a cousin of the late Queen, is found dead from a catastrophic head injury resulting from the discharge of a firearm, which was found nearby his body, leading the police to rule his death a suicide. And no one would have taken much notice about this, except for the fact that 2 days later, February 27, William pulls out of a memorial for his godfather, the late King Constantine of Greece, citing personal reasons. But there was one small sentence in the press that would send this case into the conspiracy stratosphere. Although Prince William dropped out of attending the service on Tuesday due to a personal reason, it is understood that his absence was not connected to Kingston's death. Now, to this day, no one can explain why the press felt the need to include this unsolicited statement. I mean, no one, at least the general public, was thinking of William. In fact, Kingston's death may have gone mostly unnoticed had the press not included this rather bizarre statement. Now, Thomas Kingston was linked romantically to Kate's sister Pippa and was a well-regarded and well-respected and independently, financially successful man. In addition to dating Pippa, he was romantically linked to many ladies in aristocratic circles. He at one point dated one of William's exes before finally settling down to marry Lady Gabriella. Now, it didn't take a Sherlock Holmes to start connecting the dots about possible connections between him and Kate. I mean, this guy was clearly a playboy, and let's be real here, folks. He wasn't a bad-looking dude, and we all know William is a very, very jealous man. So it's understandable why people would start to suspect that something deeper was at play regarding Kingston's death. Thomas was everything William is not. Brilliant, charismatic, self-made, well-liked, and a long-time romantic rival that may have gotten a bit too close to his family for his liking, or he may just have been a thorn in his side for whatever reason. Anyway, all the reports go on to state that Kingston was always optimistic and never gave any indication as being a candidate for offing themselves. Anyway, the story got even more and more mysterious as the days and months progressed. Lady Gabriella later decided to move back into Kensington Palace with her parents. Then the most recent reports now conveniently state that Thomas was on antidepressants, a statement corroborated by his wife, Lady Gabriella. And folks, you cannot find any story about Thomas Kingston on the internet right now that does not talk about his taking antidepressants and how that contributed to his quote-unquote suicide. Anyway, if you want me to go into more details about Thomas Kingston, just let me know and I will do a separate deep dive video, but I don't want to veer off too much into that right now because it's already getting way too long. February 28th, strange headline pops up from out of nowhere asking, what if William commits a serious crime? The writer, Wells Oster, appears to be a pseudonym of some sort, and I don't know, maybe this was some kind of leak from an insider? February 29, William visits a synagogue. Everyone noticed something odd on his neck. There appeared to be very visible bruises in what looked like he had been involved in some kind of altercation. Mind you, this was exactly 4 days after Kingston's death. The bruises were very obvious, and folks started to wonder if this could have been the personal reason he cited for his much publicized pulling out of the memorial. I mean, did he need a little bit more time maybe for his bruises to heal? I don't know. Anyway, as you can imagine, the speculations, the rumors, conspiracies, whatever you want to call it, were now at a fever pitch. Kate still hadn't been seen now for over 2 months. And folks, you could tell that it was all reaching a boiling point at Kensington Palace. William was looking increasingly suspicious, especially after the press mentioned him in relation to Kingston's death. And it was obvious that they had to say something. So Kensington Palace finally issued this defiant statement, which basically said, "We done told you stop asking about Kate, so F off and mind your own business," basically. March 4, TMZ releases a pap shot of a woman resembling Kate shot from a distance in a car being driven by what appears to be Carol Middleton. And folks, one look at them and you may have gotten the impression that they were fugitives running from the law. Both of them appeared, for lack of a better word, verklempt. Carol had this look on her face like she was the getaway driver in a bank robbery or something. And Kate, well, at the time, nobody was sure if this was actually Kate. But the woman sitting in the passenger side looked like it could be Kate if she was just released from a halfway house. I mean, her hair was a mess. Her face was puffy. And she was wearing these cheap-looking sunglasses that appeared to be hiding something. Now, many people did not believe that this was Kate. In fact, Kensington Palace has never actually confirmed that it was her, but it just added another layer to this increasingly bizarre mystery. The hashtag #WhereIsKate started trending, and well, after everything else that unfolded, this was turning out to be the story of the year. March 6, a palace insider leaks that Kate's condition is shrouded in radio silence. March 7, Ministry of Defense issues a statement that Kate will be attending Trooping the Color later on in the year, which they are forced to immediately retract. March 11, William releases to the press the now infamous Mother's Day photo, which was found to be so heavily manipulated that major press agencies have no choice but to reject the image, issuing the statement that Kensington Palace is not a trusted source. The next day, KP releases this disembodied statement claiming to be from Kate, taking full responsibility for William's photograph. The incident is lampooned in the US press, turning Kensington Palace into a laughingstock. It was obvious, at least to me, that the still unseen Kate was being made the fall guy in order to rescue William from embarrassment, especially after being deemed not a trusted source. The biggest question on social media was, where is Kate? Why can't she be seen? Why is she being blamed for this? And how do we even know she wrote the statement? This was, I believe, William's rock bottom moment, and he had to clean this up, and he had to do it fast. It was obvious by now that to anyone with eyes that something was going on, and the continued secrecy was just making matters worse and threatening to bring down the entire British monarchy. March 12, William and a woman whose face is turned away is seen in a car. The report states that William was taking Kate to an appointment on his way to Commonwealth Day. However, it becomes fairly obvious once again that this is just another form of trickery using an old photograph. And folks, I really started to question William's sanity at this point. He had already been dinged for being dishonest and not even being man enough to take responsibility for the Mother's Day fiasco, instead placing the blame on his wife, who, let's face it, no one was even sure at this time if she was even still a part of this earthly realm. And now he arrogantly tries to pull off some other bullshit. I mean, he was just looking crazy. March 13, first reports of a rumored divorce surfaces in the press. March 15, Kate's senior staffers report that they still haven't seen her and they don't know what the hell is going on, which further reinforces the suspicion that Kate never actually wrote the Mother's Day mea culpa, especially if her staff hasn't seen neither hide nor hair of her since Christmas. March 18, peak insanity. Earlier in the day, witnesses, and I say that loosely, claimed to have seen Kate bouncing around at the farm shops in Windsor. Later on the same day, this TMZ Pat video surfaces with two people who from a distance looks like it could be William and Kate merrily walking along. Anyway, upon closer inspection, it becomes fairly obvious that the woman in the video is clearly not Kate. In fact, it's not certain if the man in the video is even William. It appears that they could both be body doubles. Well, at least the girl playing Kate definitely is. And folks, this really brings home the absurdity of the situation. They are clearly pretend walking and talking almost like extras on a film set. William keeps his head down while the girl playing Kate at one point looks up, revealing to the world the glaringly obvious fact that she is someone else. Even the gait in her walk is clearly not Kate's. I mean, she just looks like a college freshman or something that just got offered a gig. Anyway, as you can imagine, folks, this just blows up, and if William didn't already look guilty as hell, he most certainly does now. Oh, and also the press. Victoria Newton later confesses that Kensington Palace actually approved of releasing what we now refer to as the farm shop video. Even the TMZ reporter admitted that the girl was not Kate. Trust was now at an all-time low, not just for Kensington Palace. The situation was just getting out of hand and threatening to bring down the entire British monarchy. Something needed to be done, and it had to be something big. March 22, the BBC releases this pre-recorded video of a woman appearing to be Kate, sitting alone on a bench in a very static-looking garden, announcing to the world, well, what exactly did she announce? She said that after her abdominal procedure, it was found that cancer had been present. Had been. She never actually states that she'd been diagnosed with cancer, nor does she ever specify the type of cancer. She goes on to state that her doctors, which by the way no one ever heard about because to this day they've never actually been acknowledged or identified for that matter, determined that she needed a course of preventative chemotherapy. Well, as you can imagine, this immediately unleashed a torrent of guilty feelings, silencing all the doubters and conspiracy theorists, and the British press basically blankets the airwaves with denunciations and cries of shame and demands for apologies. However, several eagle-eyed internet sleuths were able to immediately notice some, let's just say, oddities about the video. First off, she just appears flat and lifeless. Her face is expressionless and weirdly elongated, especially compared to pictures of her later on. And there are a bunch of other things that lead most people, and I would say a silent majority, to conclude that the video is a deepfake or AI video. And also, why not just come out and make a live announcement or something? Anyway, this seemed to do the trick. For the days and weeks that followed, all you saw in the press was, oh, how brave Kate is, and all you meanies with your conspiracy theories mocking a sick woman. And there were some apologies, and people just basically stopped asking, where is Kate at that point? Although, I suspect they still thought it was bullshit. But folks, we're talking about the big C word here. An awful, awful illness that ravages people's lives, tears families asunder in its wake. Surely no one would use that as an excuse to rehabilitate their image in a cynical ploy for sympathy now. Nah, no one would ever be that much of a psychopath. Folks, I know some of you will disagree with me, but I'm not entirely convinced that the cancer story was Kate's idea, which I'll get into later. March 28, reports in the U.S. press begin to surface of tensions between William and his father, suggesting that Charles believes he is unfit for the role of monarch. You think? March 31st, Charles and Camilla lead the royal family on Easter Sunday as William and Kate are absent. Now remember, prior to this, they were claiming that Kate would appear by Easter, but I guess the bench video mitigated the need for that. April 2nd, the press revives embarrassing reports about the state of the Middletons' finances in what I believe now was a power play to intimidate them, using their financial situation as a form of leverage to keep them quiet about something. Anyway, as soon as reports surface, they quickly go away, indicating some kind of agreement being reached or some kind of settlement. April 12, George is seen for the first time since Christmas as William takes him to see a football match. The child appears to be uncomfortable and nervous. April 19, reports begin to surface about possible titles being bestowed on the Middletons. Looks like they were unsuccessful in securing any titles. April 25th, several publications report that Kate has a secret hobby of swimming in the dark, and that William thinks she's mad. The randomness of this story, which appeared simultaneously in several publications, is not lost on netizens who begin to suspect that some new convoluted story is brewing behind the scenes, possibly to explain Kate's absence, perhaps forever. The synchronicity of these reports suggests a coordinated effort by Kensington Palace. April 27th, the Spanish press reports that the woman we have seen is not Kate. May 14, Charles unveils his official portrait. The painting features Charles emerging from a blood-red background, eliciting mixed responses, some people finding the painting to be downright shocking and terrifying. At this time, Rose Hanbury also resurfaces, as she is a specially invited guest at some horsey trial thing by Camilla herself. The next day, Rose is seen again at another event, this time wearing what appears to be one of Kate's hats, reviving affair rumors. May 24, a Daily Beast article makes a bombshell claim that Kate may not be seen again for the rest of the year, and dropping one major clue about her possible whereabouts, stating that she is being surrounded by her birth family. June 14, William makes a secret visit to MI6. No one really knows why, but it may have something to do with what follows the next day. June 15, after weeks of back and forth from the press about a possible appearance, Kate and all the children finally make a live appearance at Trooping the Color. She appears to be much thinner, and many people notice what looks like a deep scar on the side of her head going down towards her eye. The scar looks to be like a deep gash, although some reports claim that Kate always had a scar, though it was never quite noticeable up to this point, leading netizens to suspect that part of Kate's prolonged disappearance may have had something to do with allegations of DV. The press fawns all over her with over-the-top declarations of bravery. In fact, the press seems to be locked into some kind of agreement where any mention of her must include the words brave and cancer battle. One even suggesting that she is above being a mere mortal. The response from the public is swift. The reporter is roundly criticized by regular folks sharing their cancer journeys, which don't exactly include prolonged time off from work, nor the best care taxpayers' money can buy. June 19, for the first time this year, Kate's parents are seen as they make an appearance at the Royal Ascot. Carol appears to have aged significantly in a very short time. William is seen playing the gentleman and looking rather smug and self-satisfied. June 23, Princess Anne, known as the hardest working royal, walking her horse on her estate in Gloucestershire, is found lying in a field unconscious. It is determined that she sustained a concussion, although no one really knows why. She still to this day maintains that she does not remember anything. However, a story is pieced together that the horse she was handling apparently kicked her in the head, but no one really knows for sure what happened because there were no witnesses. Her appearances on the royal circular are subsequently wiped out. July 14, in her only second official public appearance of the year, Kate appears at her favorite sporting event to raucous applause and a standing ovation. Reports suggest that William has won back control and is calling the shots about which public appearances she gets to make. The press, of course, tries to spin this as him being overprotective. September 9, Kate releases a highly produced Hallmark-style video announcing that she has completed chemotherapy and that she is cancer-free. The video shows an idyllic scene of the family romping through the woods and rolling around on a beach in what comes off as a forced attempt to portray the couple as being in love. The response from the public, however, seems to catch Kensington Palace by surprise, as even the normally sycophantic press admits that the video seems overly contrived and having the unintended effect of minimizing the struggles of cancer and the ravaging effects of chemotherapy. And it just comes off as another slap in the face for people who don't have the privilege of taking a year off. The video also fails to acknowledge any medical staff. During this time, conflicting reports about Kate's health continue to surface, some claiming she is cancer-free, while others claim she is on death's door. These reports run simultaneously with other conflicting reports about her future appearances, some even suggesting she may not be seen again for over a decade. October 3rd, Kate invites Liz Hatton, a young girl facing terminal cancer, to Windsor Castle. October 10, William and Kate make a joint appearance in an official visit to the families of the victims of the Southport massacre. The chemistry between them appears icy, with Kate appearing to be coerced. And folks, it's pretty obvious by now to everyone that the marriage is done. October 26, Charles and Camilla conclude their tour of Australia and Samoa, where Charles was publicly heckled by a member of the Australian Parliament and Indigenous persons' rights activist Lydia Thorpe, as Camilla rudely tried to engage the attention of others in an attempt to mock and belittle her. In fact, Camilla displays appallingly bad behavior during the entire tour, leading some to question her so-called aristocratic upbringing. November 4, Channel 4 Dispatches releases a documentary titled The King, the Prince, and Their Secret Millions, revealing that the duchies have long been profiting from charities, schools, government buildings and services, and that Charles and William are slumlords, with tenants complaining of lack of heat and mold-infested apartments. The documentary is yet another nail in the coffin for the family who's been struggling with one PR disaster after another all year. November 10, after William's solo visit to South Africa, this bombshell drops by Royal Rota reporter Rhiannon Mills, claiming that Kate only had pre-cancer cells. This ignites a flurry of accusations across the internet, suggesting that this is yet the latest evidence confirming what most people have long suspected, that the cancer story was a hoax to cover up for something else. The palace finds themselves once again in damage control mode, forcing Sky News to retract the statement later on that day made by Mills. November 11, Kate attends Remembrance Day, where she is observed standing on a balcony as William places a wreath with a note bearing his sole signature and monogram. Husband of the year there, that William is. Kate looks extremely embarrassed and appears to be struggling back tears. November 20, Kate misses a glitzy tiara event, the diplomatic corps reception. Every indication points to William wielding control over her and preventing her from attending her preferred events. December 4th, Kate misses yet another glitzy tiara event. December 7, Trump meets William in France, where they sit and discuss, well, what did they discuss? Not much, really. William comes off as a groveling and kind of a beta male. December 24, Kate hosts her annual Christmas caroling event with William and the children arriving in separate vehicles. By now, it's pretty much an open secret that they are no longer living together. December 25th, Kate does the annual Christmas Day walkabout at Sandringham with William and the children, and of course, Charles and Camilla. And this event marks exactly 1 year, setting in motion the bizarre series of events that took place this year, and what many still believe is actually the last time the real Kate was actually seen. December 26th, the U.S. press reports that Kate has for some time now been separated from William and has been secretly living with her parents, confirming what most people have already suspected. So I know I'm a little late posting this video. I really wanted to try to get it in before midnight, but it really took a long time for me to edit this. It was so much, so many things I had to do. I had to go back into my archives and pull out all these headlines from all the videos that I did from the start of the year. And as you can imagine, it was just a monumental task. There was a lot I didn't get to really cover because it would have ended up being over an hour long, such as the Royal Lodge situation, which you guys already know all about that. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, I guess, my overall take on the situation. As you know, anyone who's been following me since I started the channel early last year, I really didn't think she was still with us. And I'm glad I was wrong, obviously. There was a time when it really looked like she was gone. And I was worried. I was worried for her. I was worried for the kids, because if you remember, it took a long time for us to see the kids before George showed up at the football game, and then the other kids showed up at the Trooping the Color thing. And so yeah. But anyway, tell me, what do you think happened? What do you think really happened? What do you think really happened? Do you think the cancer narrative is just a cover up for some, as long as they remain tight-lipped and not willing to to talk about, not willing to be transparent, this is what's going to happen. Is going to create a vacuum, and people are going to speculate. And they are public figures. They're taxpayer supported public figures. They are representative of a whole freaking government. So yeah, people are going to talk about them. I'm not going to be shamed into not talking about them. I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to talk about any damn thing I want to. Okay, so for those of you people who want to go on about, privacy, go off. But I'm going to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. And obviously you want to listen, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Here's what I think might have happened. And I've talked about this before in previous videos. The first thing is domestic violence. There's a very good chance that Kate was physically assaulted by William. There's so many reports in the press going back years talking about William's violent temper, William's horrible treatment of Kate. And not only of Kate, of just his treatment of people in general, that he doesn't get along with too many people. He doesn't get along with it was reported just a couple weeks ago before Christmas that he didn't want to show up for for the Christmas party because something like Camilla's kids were going to be there. The press even referring to Camilla's daughter as his secret sister. Not really sure where that's coming from. Maybe they're trying to tell us something. I don't know. But it's no secret that William just does not get along with too many people. And he certainly comes off as someone with a sense of entitlement. And of course he's going to have a sense of entitlement. He is the heir to the British throne, so he is bred to have a sense of, he's conditioned to have a sense of entitlement. And so, and here's the thing, he's not a particularly special person in terms of, he's not an extraordinary person. He just seems like he's just an average guy. And I think it bugs him that, first of all, that his brother is turning out to be the star in the family. The British press certainly thinks so, because they can't seem to get enough of Harry and Meghan. Don't blame Harry and Meghan for that. Blame the British press for that. But it's obvious that he is clearly jealous of his brother. And I think he may even have, it's not a stretch of the imagination to think that he was probably also jealous of Thomas Kingston. We don't know what happened with the Thomas Kingston thing. Like I said, if you want me to do a deep dive into Thomas Kingston, please let me know. If you're not going to watch it, then I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go spend a whole week, collecting headlines and doing research and staying up nights editing. If you guys are not going to watch and share and comment and like and subscribe, come on, let's get this channel some more subscribers. I've been hovering around the same subscribers for months now. I need your help, guys. Just help me to support the channel, keep it growing, help me to continue what I'm doing, help me to give you more quality stuff, to get better and better, to keep you informed, to keep you entertained, and just so that you can have something alternative out there, something alternative than what's already out there. If, a lot of people come on here who hate the Sussexes, they hate Meghan, and I don't know why. Obviously, I'm not really sure. This is obviously not a hate channel. There's so many channels out there that's going to give you that. I mean, there are literally like there's so many channels out there that's just dedicated to hating Meghan Markle, getting so many views, making so much money. Why come here? You can go over there and go get your dopamine fix over there. Don't come here. This is not where you're going to get hate. And you're not going to get any Kate hate here either. I still have sympathy for Kate. And I know a lot of people in this audience don't like Kate. They don't care for her. Actually, I don't. It doesn't really matter what you think of her. And it doesn't matter what you think of Meghan. No woman, in my opinion, no woman deserves to be treated that way. No woman should be treated that way by their boyfriends, husbands, significant others. I think William has displayed appallingly callous behavior towards her. I think he's been doing it for years. And doesn't matter what I think of her, or my opinion of her, or your opinion of her. It's horrible. It's horrible to see a man treating his wife that way. And especially if it involves her having experienced something life-threatening, then that's really quite serious. So it could be domestic abuse. It also could have been something related to an eating disorder, which I have also mentioned in the past as well. She had the bandages on her fingers for some time. She sometimes appears with bruising on her knuckles, which is indicative of bulimia. She's always so thin. I mean, you could say she's a naturally thin girl, but she's really, really thin. And, there's a lot of pressure to look a certain way when you are always in the spotlight. And that could have gotten to her. I also believe that Harry marrying Meghan and leaving was also a huge blow for Kate. I think she leaned on Harry a lot for some emotional support. I do think also that there was a little bit more going on there, not necessarily that it was mutual, but I do think that she definitely preferred Harry. I think she would have loved for him to always have been there, just so unmarried, where she could be in between both of them, the way it always was, and just so she could have the best of both worlds. So yeah, I kind of stick by that I think Harry leaving was also a huge blow to her as well, which leads me to the next theory that it may have been some kind of a mental breakdown. There are reports here and there that she could have had some kind of a nervous breakdown, some kind of a mental breakdown. Angela Levin at one point suggested it. So there's that. There is also the possibility that she just left. The press kept talking about affair rumors, and people just automatically assumed that, it's William having an affair with Rose Hambury and whoever else. There's even rumors that he might be playing for the other team. But it could also be that she was having an affair. They both could have been having an affair with other people. That's like par for the course for the British aristocrats, is to have affairs with everybody, sleep with everybody. That's just kind of like what they do, So a lot of people are convinced that maybe she was having a thing with Thomas Kingston, and she could have even have been pregnant for him. I don't know. I don't know about any. I don't have enough proof of any of that. There's no evidence of that right now. One thing I will say that's fishy about the Thomas Kingston thing is just lately this whole thing comes up about him being on antidepressants, and it just seems really, really odd to me. It seems like as soon as he died, Lady Gabriella went right back to Kensington Palace, and she was taken under their wing. And look, I don't put anything past these people. I wouldn't be surprised if she was being coerced into saying whatever they want her to say. One thing is certain, they certainly have control over the internet, because unless I say, if I didn't save some of these headlines, there's no way I would have found them. No way. A lot of the headlines you see in this video, you will not find anymore on the internet. They have some kind of mechanism in place to erase things from the internet. And also, we already know that they control the press, and if they want to push a story, all you're gonna see is that story. It's just like how, for months all we kept seeing was, oh, Harry and Meghan are divorcing, which turned out to be not true. And also, and now with the whole story about the antidepressants, it's like, how come all of a sudden now all they want to talk about is the effects of the dangers of antidepressants, and Thomas was taking antidepressants, despite the fact that everybody who knew this guy said that he was just the most stable, reliable person you could think of. I mean, this guy was a hostage negotiator in Iraq. So I don't know, that might even play into this story somehow as well. Then another thing I wanted to talk about was the conflicting reports all year about her not being seen again. It's like, one day you'll see a report that says she's never going to be seen again. She's not going to be seen all year. And then next day she pops up at an event, so it's like, which is it? Is she permanently retreating from public life, or is she still a working royal? It's obvious that there are conflicts taking place behind the scenes, where I think she's checked out. She does not want to be in a marriage with William anymore. I think that is painfully obvious. But I think, and I'm not sure, I don't think really, William is such a selfish person. I don't really believe that, I don't think he really wants to be in a marriage either, but I think he realizes that he can't divorce her, especially if he wants to be king. I think it looks bad. I think it'll probably look bad, and William is a coward. He's not going to do something. I think he's going to take the road of least resistance all the time. And if that means continuing to be in the marriage so that he can be king, then that's what it's that. Then and pretend to the world that everything is okay, then that's what he's going to do. But it's clear that they're not together anymore. They're not even living together anymore, and they're not even hiding the fact that they're not living together anymore. In conclusion, I will say that William has really come off as the villain here. In my opinion, I think he really is the antagonist here in this story. I think he's been an awful person. He's been an awful husband, an awful brother. He's short-tempered. He's violent. He does not get along with anybody. I think he is petulant. He is narcissistic. I think that he is controlling. I don't know if you remember, there was even a time when he was calling himself the disciplinarian of the family. And I think he is the one behind the scenes wielding control about where she gets to go. It's obvious that he does not allow her to go to the fancy dress-up parties that Kate loves to go to. And he does it just to punish her, just like the whole Remembrance Day thing, leaving her name off the note. He did that expressly to embarrass her, and that just tells you what kind of person he is. I mean, going back to the Mother's Day thing where he blamed her, instead of taking responsibility for himself, he just throws her under the bus. And that's who William is. He tries to make out like he's you know, this great guy. He's a statesman, and the reality is that he's just a very average person, that's just very lucky. And I think it bugs him. I think it bugs him that he has not really excelled at anything, and he is constantly trying to prove that he is good at something. And it bothers him to see that his brother is doing what he wishes he could be able to do. I think that bothers him to no end. Yeah, so let me know what you think, and please support the channel. Like and subscribe, share, send a super thanks. Please, guys, send me a super thanks. You know, I've never asked for help before. I've never asked for support before. I'm asking you for it now. Send me a super thanks. Like the channel, subscribe. Let's grow together in 2025 so that I can give you quality content, so I can post more videos more frequently instead of like once every couple of weeks and stuff. I'd love to be able to just dedicate a lot more time to giving you guys what you want to see. You know, drop a line and let me know what you would like to see covered. You know, if there's somebody in the royal family that you know, I have some ideas about some things I'd like to talk about, you know, some people I'd like to talk about and go into more details with. But it takes work. It takes a lot of time, guys, and I really do need your support. So share the video, share whatever videos you like, share, like, subscribe, talk about it, send a super thanks, and just help me to grow in 2025. Let's grow together in 2025, and I'll catch you in the next video.